here we have Ethereum versus the dollar. We'll do a general overview on this one as it does put in a nice little low right here on the daily. And I do suspect that we are going to see a little bit of short-term sideways and up from this region based off of the short-term timeframes like the 4-hour, printing some regular bullish divergence. Now, again, when I do say sideways and up, this could very easily come down and make maybe a slightly lower low, but still within range. That could be as low as about 2,900 or so. So let me just mark this off, or sorry, whoops, wrong. Where's my, oh, Jesus, man, there it is, found it. 2,900 or so is kind of where I'd be looking for at most. But ultimately, I do suspect that you are looking for a corrective bounce here. We do see that BBWP is starting to cool off. It's actually cooling off quite a fair bit. So you have seen probably a good amount of that bounce, to be fair. Again, alongside bullish evidence, 4-hour jewel is not following along though. So that is suggesting that probably not going to be the move that you're necessarily looking for. That combined with our stochastic momentum likely does align with a corrective move right here. 12-hour turns up or remains with up, I guess, or actually no, twisting up for the first time in a while above about 30.14. Daily will also follow above about 3,100, so a little bit further away. 6-hour is going to be showing upside above about 29.84, and 4-hour is going to be showing upside above about base kind of where you are actually about 3,000 or so. So ultimately I would be looking for a bit more sideways here. Probably does try a little bit of upside. So where would the likely corrective targets come in around if this one is going to play them out alongside a Bitcoin? Okay, that seems a little bit too high. I'm going to go all the way down here. Let's take it from the actual meltdown. In this case, I suppose I could be looking at about just above 3,100, about 3,124. So I do feel like that's a little bit of hopium in the short term, to be fair. But then after that, I do look at this from a range resolution perspective, meaning that any sort of a closure above about 3,124 or 3,125, actually, I do look for a move a bit higher towards 32. Again, that doesn't really do too much for me. The one that does a lot for me, where I'd actually call this not just a reversal, but very likely a big bear trap, probably alongside Bitcoin above about 44,000 bucks as well, would be at the 618 bearish Trisman right here, which is 3260 or so. Any sort of daily closure above there, yeah, I would call this one a bear trap. We can start to talk about big targets up towards big targets up towards 39 to 4,000 bucks. I think that's a lot less likely. I think that's a lot of hopium right there. And to be fair, as long as you are especially below about 3125, risk certainly does remain lower, of which where would those targets essentially be on this chart? Well, let's go over here. And I suppose the next area of interest for the downside would be somewhere down around this 2,800 to 2,750 pocket. Let me just highlight that one off. I would be looking for bounces there. Again, it's more likely to bounce after a bit of short-term sideways here first. But if you do fail below about 2,900 in the interim, I would be looking for that next target to be met. Very likely a short-term bounce yet again there, and then I'd want to come back and reassess. We can sort of visualize a bit of a trend line coming in around here. Although I'm not a humongous fan of these sort of diagonally infused trend lines, but generally speaking, probably a good bounce area nonetheless. Anyways, as far as that goes, I don't really have too much else to add on to it. If we do want to go to like the very high-term time frames, like a 5-day and a weekly, I would feel quite confident calling downside continuation to the mid 2000s, maybe later, probably not later this month, but early May, if you will. If you do see a closure on the next 5-day, which is closing certainly not tonight, but I believe Friday. Yeah, I believe Friday. Any sort of a closure below about 3,000 will do it for me, and it's very likely setting the tone for the next few weeks to come, with targets down most likely around 25 to 2,600 or so. Until then, I guess the hopium again is that you flip back around here, trade back above that very specific region at basically 3260 on a daily closing basis. At that point, I do call a reversal bear trap with big targets to the upside. But until then, that's kind of all hopium. And do be aware that the 5-day will also turn, 5 days stochastic momentum, I should say, will also turn down below about 3,000 if you do close there on Friday. And it'll also be kind of a trend line regression rejection here, right alongside the bullish control zone, which is like not a bullish thing, obviously. And the DMI is already printing, red here, as long as this one's below about 3,600. So I would remain cautious with that. If that criteria is met on Friday, I would be looking for lower in the following weeks. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful with Ethereum, and there you go, Mr. Jack.